Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterland universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
Send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode, another wonderful guest. Before we get into the episode, I want to welcome back Hep. And we've got he's back. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got a quick shout out to acknowledge the Aqualis Marketplace. Have either of you guys had a chance to really dive into the marketplace, mess around and do some purchasing?
I have. I bought some more cards there the other day. Yeah, it works out great. I think the interface is great. Been enjoying it. I love getting that DC back too. So definitely better than using the in-game marketplace for me. Especially with land coming out, got to get all that DC you can, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, I think last time we had this guy on, probably about 30 or so episodes ago, I introduced him as Even Keel. He was taken aback. I introduced him as the hair of his own show. He's known as one of the most polarizing personalities in all of Splinter. Oh, that's his co-host. He's widely embraced as one of the greatest content creators in Splinterlands. He's a great personality. He's a friend to anybody who's willing to communicate. We're very happy and privileged to have him on the show. We've got the one and only Walkingkeys, man. What's up, brother?
Hey guys, thank you so much. I mean, I just come here for that intro. I need that, that shot of positivity and boost to my morale every once in a while. So I appreciate you having me back on and hyping me up like that, dude. I appreciate it.
Sorry about getting you and Gank mixed up, man. It's a common mistake, I'm sure.
It happens. Yeah, we look very similar and,
same demeanor. So, yeah.
We were both, same backgrounds, very calm. Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah, thanks for joining us. The last episode you were on was great. That was definitely one of my favorites, and loved hearing about, you getting together with Gang to do the stream and how you got into Splinterlands. And, I wanted to hear more about how you got into collectibles, because you've always got such cool collectible stuff in your background. But I was going to do some digging on it to see kind of what was out there and look through your PeakD posts. And that's when I started to come across a lot of your older articles that talked about you being a stand-up comedian and the stuff you were doing, hosting comedy clubs and stuff like that. So I'm going to pivot from the collectible stuff. I want to ask you about that. Like, how did you get up into stand-up comedy? How long were you doing it for? Tell us about that. Tell us about the comedy club as well.
Yeah, and that question actually comes with a disclaimer that nothing ever goes away on the blockchain. So good discovery there. Yeah, I got into comedy. I was actually working at a bowling alley entertainment center. I had a very large 48 lanes of bowling, had a 5,000 square foot bar upstairs, had like a stage in it. We had bands and stuff. And I started as the marketing director, and we had a comedy night already scheduled kind of before I got there. But I was the one that marketed it, and we sold out. It was packed. And I thought it was awesome. And then the owner's like, hey, why don't we start a comedy club? Can you do that? And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Had no idea what I was signing myself up for. But about 3 months later, we launched a comedy club. And very early on, I realized that I could save money. Like we were very, very thin margins, especially in the beginning. So I could save $50 a night by hosting the shows. And so I started hosting the shows, 3 shows a week. And over time, a couple of years, I kept doing a little bit more time, and I would intentionally try to do new jokes every night. And after a few years, I built up a pretty large set, and then I would do that set there. I would travel a little bit to do comedy, and then did some when I moved down to South Carolina as well. But it's it's a tough gig, that comedy. I love it though. If you can do it, I've never been able to replicate the feeling you get when you crush a crowd. Like all their energy, all that laughter is just that positivity. You feel that as you're getting off stage, and that I've never been able to replicate anywhere. So it can be powerful, but the opposite is true too. When you suck and you bomb and no one's laughing, and you feel that energy too. So it's something you don't want to bomb too often. You want to get pretty good pretty quick.
But a little bit different than just reading comments on your YouTube page, huh?
Yes. Oh, and if you go the wrong way, and you get someone talking back to you, you better be ready to handle yourself. Because if not, I've seen people, when I ran my club, I intentionally used it as a place to help new comics kind of get on stage for their first time. So many comics. I was the first actually comedy club that they performed on. And eventually I did open mic nights and stuff to encourage, young comedians. And once we got to a certain level, there were a few times I've seen people bomb so bad, like they just left. They just walked off the stage, and then they would walk past everybody out the doors, and I'd have to call them in a week just to make sure they were okay. But they were just done, and that was it. That was the last time they ever did comedy, because it can be rough. Wow. But if you stick to it, you can learn a lot about yourself, and it's a wonderful lens. Being able to understand jokes and how to write jokes can be a wonderful lens to use in so many different aspects of life, where you can twist things and make it humorous and decrease tension. It can work in like professional settings, being able to do that quickly. So especially in conversations with in-laws and such. Stuff like that.
Oh, Keys starting the show hot with some life tips. I love it, man. Yeah, I can imagine, man. We were talking a little bit off air about the great show that is Kill Tony, and it brings a little bit of a different perspective to bombing. Obviously the energy is you're right on with the positivity, and when somebody kills a room, it's that energy is palpable. But the opposite, like you said, is also 100% true. When that negative energy is there, you can hear a pin drop, and you can hear that heart racing, and you can see the beads of sweat. And that takes a tough spirit, man. I don't know if I've got it in, as much as I like talking to people. I don't know if I've got it in me to get up in front of a crowd and try even 60 seconds of my best jokes.
Yeah, it's brutal, and and to be honest, it will be brutal for a long time. I had one slight advantage, and that was I have a theatrical and writing background, so I was able to at least. I didn't have the normal being afraid on stage type of thing, and I didn't have the problem like trying to figure out how to write jokes. Like I was already past all that. So I was able to advance pretty quickly, and hosting my shows, I was able to kind of figure out jokes, because I was also watching all these comics were just coming once a week, and performing the same set 3 different times, new comics every week. So for me, it was like they were coming to teach me, and this was my, where I could learn, because I strongly believe in kind of taking advantage of whatever opportunities are in front of you. So at that point, I was either just going to sit there in the back of the room and not do anything, or I could sit and listen and try to improve the comedy club by getting better at hosting and understanding what makes a good comedian, what doesn't. So after years of watching comedians, I could really start dissecting and understanding what they did in certain places, how they brought audiences back after they lost them, and then even how to engage with the audience in different ways if someone is a heckler or whatever, because there's a lot of different approaches. But those were all lessons that just kind of rolled out every single weekend. If you just like watching Kill Tony, you watch enough Kill Tony, you'll start realizing some of those joke structures. You'll start realizing things, and if you just pay attention to what's around you. So that's how I learned, was just watching them. And once you do learn it is really interesting. Gank and I have a very similar. We both like stand-up comedy. So That's one of those things that we have in common, because it does take a unique and almost kind of intelligent person to like stand-up comedy. Like, you have to be willing to kind of disassociate your feelings from, what's happening. And that takes a kind of skill that people are losing these days, I think. But I don't know. I like it.
Who's your favorite stand-up these days?
That's tough. See, I don't really have favorites, like, in general, because I change all the time.
Who
But
do you think
right
the
now,
newer person out there who's doing well then, or something?
I don't know what the guy's name is, but he's killing it. He's a handsome gentleman, nice jawline. I don't know. He put out
Fluffy?
a special called Red
You
Flag.
talking about Fluffy?
Fluffy? No. Nope.
Red Flags is the show.
Oh, it's one of his specials, I think. Yeah. He does some of the best
Matt
crowd work
Rife?
I've ever seen. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
that guy's got some talent, man. Yeah. But personally, Jim Gaffigan's one of my all-time favorites. He does clean comedy, which is the hardest comedy to do. And his joke about McDonald's is still one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, it really, yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of guys that are running through my head right now, but I don't want to list them all.
That's fair.
Some of them have been canceled at some point, I'm sure.
So with respect to the full kind of comedy industry, are you still involved with this club that you helped establish? Are you still involved on some level in supporting local comics? I know you mentioned you've kind of moved away from that town where that club was born, but yeah, what's your current relationship with the club, with comedy in general?
Yeah, I mean, at the core of my soul and my being, I'm kind of a hustler. And so if I'm not making money at it, I'm really not doing it. So for me, comedy, as long as I made money doing comedy, I was happy doing it. Which may sound selfish, but I've got a family, I got bills to pay. So when I ran the club, I was getting paid as the marketing director for the club. So I didn't worry about spending extra time hosting, doing that. I was still getting paid. And then that club actually shut down when the building closed. They sold the building, and that I left before that and did some other things. But I had started another club since then. That one's also closed. And then I was doing comedy nights to help young comedians. So everything I did, I was always getting paid somehow to do comedy. And so when I moved down here and it was just kind of starting from scratch, even though I had a solid set, I was, had good crowd work. I didn't want to do it anymore for like $15 or like a free piece of pizza or anything, or a free beer. Like I was over that. Like, my time is worth more than that at this point. But comedy is one of those things that if you're funny, you're funny. It doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter what you look like, So I can be an old guy, when the kids get out and go to college and they're off being successful. I can go out and, do comedy then when it doesn't matter. My wife can join a bridge club or something.
Nice. Well, we were talking a little bit off air, and kind of reaching back to our first episode that we had you on Keys. You had mentioned to Waskell and I that you were working on bringing a new project to life, and I'm happy to report that we had some positive news on this mystery project from the last, I guess it was probably 9 months ago that we last talked. Do you want to spill the beans on that now? I'd love to dive into that with you.
Yeah, and as a kind of tip of the hat to you guys, I told you I would tell you when I wanted to get it started, and getting back on your show, I was like, all right, now's the time. If I go to them again and say, oh yeah, I'm going to start something one day, they're going to be like, who is this guy? He doesn't do what he says. So I have decided to start what it is my own YouTube channel, and it's going to be called Temporarily Obsessed. And excuse me, Temporarily Obsessed basically seeks to ignite passion for learning, provide a platform to explore various topics, and foster a community where curiosity thrives. So through like shared knowledge and exploration, we aim to create ripples and a positive impact in the world. That's kind of my mission statement. And the goal here is just to talk about cool things, learn new things, and share it with cool people. So I'm really excited. I'm going to have different guests and talk about everything I'm interested in, from music to tech to heck, if I can get a pilot on there, I want to talk to a pilot. I'm just interested about flying. I would know nothing if the apocalypse happened and I got to fly out. Like I need some type of training. And then we're going to do like a skill of the month. So each month the community votes on a skill, and then we're going to learn that skill. Everyone's going to kind of learn that skill, and I will document my journey through learning whatever it is that month, whether it's learning how to bake bread or make a sweater, crochet a sweater, or whatever it is. So start learning new skills that we can find helpful and useful in our lives. So just something I want to do. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, thanks for letting me share it.
I love it, man. I'll go ahead and put it out there on behalf of all of the SHQ gaming, NFT gaming and collectible community that that pilot episode will be the one that you'll have to plug the hardest on the Splinterlands community side of your business with respect to parachute planes. I expect that to be the opening question for your pilot guest.
I mean, that's one of them. I have many plane questions, but yeah, is this possible? Can we get this on every plane? Because I would love that.
Do you have any guests lined up, or any, what are some of the first topics you're planning on covering?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first guest, his name is DJ Tony Bennett. He is a DJ, is considered the godfather of hard house music, and he was a #1 Billboard artist, dance artist back in had a hit in the 90s. So he's not a spring chicken, but he's somebody that creates music, releases music today, and has never stopped. And it's one of my favorite things about him. So I really want to dive into how to continue and how, add longevity to your career under, the creative process, and then just kind of walk through some of his cool stories that he's got from those days, and just kind of learn more about a genre of music that I've recently become obsessed with. I listen to house music all day now when I work. So, and that's kind of the cool thing about the channel, is whatever I get interested in, I can kind of talk about it. But looking at bringing on some writers, bringing on a few people in the movie industry, also bringing a friend of mine. Hopefully he doesn't know it yet. He won't hear this yet, but he's a Ghostbuster. He does like Ghostbuster cosplay, like officially for like Ghostbuster fans. It's one of the most interesting things. And this guy is super smart, and he uses like 3D printers to make ghost traps and stuff. I just want to talk to this guy. So these are the type of guests that I'm trying to bring on, just things that everyone that I'm going to be interested in. Hopefully other people will be, and then do book reviews and some other things to mix in, along with the interviews and stuff. So just something I can just have fun with, to be honest.
I love it, man. It gives you a very legitimate excuse to pursue all these curiosities, and and being able to share that on a platform that it's accessible to everybody. And I think most folks who have that curious mind are going to be willing to scratch that itch with new topics that we've never heard of, or never heard an expert on the subject speak on. So yeah, very, very cool, man. Excited to hear about that. And again, real quick, Keys, it's Temporarily Obsessed is the name.
It's temporarily obsessed. Yes. And the best way to do it, to check it out, is to follow me on Twitter. And that's Walkingkeys NFT. That's the easiest way, because I'm going to be making announcement posts, and I'm going to be giving away some stuff. I'm giving away a broadside. I'm giving away a plot of land in Veritas. So I got some good prizes lined up to kind of share with the community, and also like some Audible downloads. So trying to do some fun things to encourage learning and just kind of get people interested in the things I'm interested in, so we can have conversations.
It's awesome, man. Well, I hope that you're planning on flexing that comedy muscle with respect to your hosting capabilities over on the new show, man.
I'm going to have to do something. I won't have Gank there to bounce, to lean on. But I mean, I'm still doing the stuff with Splinterlands HQ. You know, it's the SHQ NFT gaming and collectibles. Still doing our Monday night recaps and stuff. But I think this is just more about where my passion is right now, and being in the Splinterlands community really has given me the confidence to go out and try something like this, because you know I mean, I don't think I'm that great at this, but a lot of people seem to watch and they pay money for us, and that has really built up my confidence enough. And you know what, might as well try it and see what happens. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I appreciate the Splinterlands community for getting me here.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome, man. I expect next Splinterfest, if we get one, I want a stand-up set. I want like Splinterlands jokes and material. I definitely want to see, give us at least like 15, 20 minutes of some Splinterlands jokes. I'm sure you've got some you've written somewhere that you're like, well, maybe I don't want to, say this, but that's what I want to see you pull it out.
You know what? That's a deal. I will do that. And I have some Splinterland bits in my head, and that's always what I was better at, is creating more of a bit, like a bunch of little jokes that lead up to one big payday. And so yeah, so I've got a few ideas.
What's the old saying, Keys? It's comedy equals tragedy plus time.
Yeah, there it is.
We're in the thick of the salt mines, man, and you've got an absolute abyss of salt mine memes to kind of pull back and do some callbacks, classic comedy style with that stuff. I don't want to sway too far from temporarily obsessed just yet. I'm curious, what's your game plan with kind of cadence of episode? Are you going to be, I guess since you're publishing on YouTube, it's going to be video format. Do you have plans to kind of roll that out to Spotify and the other podcasting platforms? What's your overall game plan for content delivery?
Yeah, dude, that's a great question. So initially I want to do an interview a week is kind of my pace. If I can pull that off, I am, but it's going to be difficult, I think, in the beginning. And if that's not the pace, it's going to be whatever I can get. But my goal there is an interview a week, ideally live. If I can't, then definitely three of them a month or so. But I also want to do additional videos where I just hop on and talk about things that I'm interested. I read several books a month, and on different topics. So I love to talk about some of those. Love to talk about some of the books that I've read. I mean, a few books that I've read, like these up behind me here, like that series of 12 books. I've read it all the way through 11 times. I listened to it on Audible, so I can have very deep conversations on some of this stuff. It's called the series is called Cradle. It's by an author named Will White, and the first book is called Unsold, and it's a kind of a fantasy hero's journey series, and it is the best series I've ever read in my entire life. That includes Lord of the Rings, that includes like so many different things, but that one is just, it's unbelievable. And he was an Amazon author, and got a great person to read his books, and he is growing one of the fastest organic fan bases I've seen in a long time. And these people are loyal because that series is just so amazing. So it's one of those things I don't really have anyone to talk to about. I got Darkest Night to read it, and he's read it like 3 times all the way through right now. Wow. So him and I discuss it.
I'm always looking for a good fantasy series to read, especially one where they like put out books and it's not like The Name of the Wind, where it's like, well, I got 2 books out and now everybody will like wait around and wait for me to maybe read one someday, or Game of Thrones, which will never finish. So yeah, definitely into that.
Oh yeah, check that out. There's 12. He just finished the last one recently, but he's not done writing. Like, there's other worlds, and he set it up to be able to do more. But I hopped in it like midway through, and it was an exciting journey. But I literally have listened to him all the way through like 11 times. So
okay.
But it's pretty amazing. But yeah.
So are they only available like e-format, or you said they're like Amazon? He's like an Amazon author.
You can buy the books. He actually,
so you got hard copies there somewhere.
Those are signed hard copies. He does like he did a Kickstarter campaign. I did that last year. But you can buy the regular paperback versions, and he has a new Kickstarter coming for the next 3. And of course, I'm going to buy those. I need the whole set. So yeah, so those are the type of things I'll talk about. And then I wanted to do like a skill of the month. This was something I used to do a long time ago. And I just picked something I want to learn that month, and then I would go and learn it. But now I want to kind of document that journey and share it with other people, because I do think it's important to kind of, especially as a man in the house and having a family, I need to learn new things to kind of stay ahead of the curve here. I need to learn how to make another meal. I'm good with like 5 that I do, but I need to learn more. There's a few things I don't know how to fix that I need to learn.
Warming up a can of SpaghettiOs. I don't know if that qualifies as cooking a meal, brother.
No, no, that's called a callback. That's excellent. Nice work. Yeah, I need to learn more. I learned how to, when I did this a while ago, one of the things I learned to do was make homemade pizzas. And that's something I still do to this day, like every other Wednesday. I was supposed to do it tonight, but I didn't have any flour. Rookie mistake. But yeah. And just trying to constantly evolve and grow. And I think that's important these days. Just to have that outlet for people. Just learn new things.
Yeah, as someone who does probably 95 to 98% of the cooking in my household, I'd warn you to be careful of how much stuff you learn to cook, because then you sort of
you dig in your own grave.
Having to do it more often than you want.
That's good. I need to learn lunches because I work from home. My lunch today was a peanut butter sandwich. Like, I got to level up here. I got to level up.
Have you ever had peanut butter and pickles together? That's like one of my go-to lunches.
No, I have not. And I'll tell you, I'm so picky. Like, that's my problem. Like, I like apples. I think that's my only fruit I eat. Yeah. Peanut butter and cheese and meat I like on bread, and that's it. I'm so picky. I'm a bad person. I apologize.
So my grandfather was born and raised in South Carolina, born in the late 19 teens. Spent the Great Depression in that part of the country, and until the day he died, his favorite snack, and it somehow made it on to my mom and my sister as something that they both enjoy and appreciate. I find it disgusting, but my grandfather would put peanut butter and mayonnaise on a sandwich, and just peanut butter and mayonnaise. And that was like his I have to believe that was a product of the Great Depression. Like, that's all we can afford. But he was a very successful businessman, and until the day he died, it was peanut butter and mayonnaise. That was like his midnight snack of choice. Disgusting.
I mean, yeah, that is not a tradition I carry on in South Carolina anymore. But at least I do half of it. I eat the peanut butter.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, I'm super excited to hear your podcast, man. I'll definitely be following along with the journey, and you can count the People's Guilds. As small potatoes of a YouTube channel as we are, we'll certainly be following in the wake of the old Temporarily Obsessed, man.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it, and I will say this. In this bear market, these Splinterlands content, it definitely is, we're all not getting the same views we were at one point, but I would not downplay your all's significance and impact into the community. So I look at you all as a source for valuable Splinterlands content. So I appreciate what you do. So and I appreciate the support, guys.
Thanks. That's very kind. Very kind. Yeah, I know. Yeah, last time you were on, you were talking about, I remember you even said then that the bear market was probably going to last another year or last until the next Bitcoin halving. And looks like you kind of, you've been correct so far, and we're getting a lot closer to that date than we were from when you made the prediction. So looking like maybe, hopefully it doesn't hold true and it comes around a little bit sooner, but, it might last that long. So, do you pat yourself on the back, or how has it been for you being both, a content creator and, playing in the game and investor in the game. How have you sort of like held it together through this all?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. I definitely have not patted myself on the back because I just count myself lucky I'm not wrong. But to be honest, I would love it I would love it if you were like, well, you were wrong about the bull market. It's here. But yeah, that sucks. I was an idiot. But yeah, we're making money. But yeah, when the bull run comes, it's going to come. I mean, if you believe in this, you believe in all of it. And I think anyone that's still making content, still, talking about Splinterlands, we all believe, we're like on Ted Lasso right now. So I feel like as a content creator, I just want to continue talking about the game that I truly love and like playing, love the community, and just ride out the wave, because when it comes back, then the views will come back. Everything will kind of rush back to kind of, where we started, which is weird to start at the bull run because you get all this, action and then it dies down. But we have such a core group of people that watch every show they can, that watch the replays, that interact and comment. And that's what really keeps me going, is the community. If it wasn't for the community, I would just put my thing on autopilot and walk away. And, but it's the community that keeps me here. And the game is just something I do at this point. But I love the conversations we have. I love how deep we get into it. You watch it after sound or infidel stream, there's no like warming you into Splinterlands. We just jump right into it, like what we're talking about, and we do the same thing. And that's what I love. It's like it's catered to the people into our community, and I think it'll work out for everyone that hangs on through the bull market. And the only way I've been able to hang on is just it's my second full cycle, so I'm just riding the wave, just keep putting out content, keep accumulating.
Well, man, you gave, like Hep, I went back and listened to that episode we did some months back, and some of the advice you dropped, Keys, is more apt than ever. And credit to you, you had the foresight to you. I'm imagining that skin, that banner that you've got for your own streams, that Gank is always right. I want all the audience to imagine that we've got the big banner that says Walkingkeys was right this time.
Once he was right. Yes.
He nailed this one. But yeah, man, credit to you. You had the foresight, and you've been, and I'm gonna take a little dig in jest at Gank again and steal one of his lines of you were zigging when everybody was zagging. I know Gank put a patent on that saying, but I'm gonna steal that one and say, credit to you, man. You had the foresight, and you've been preparing appropriately. Listening back to some of that stuff, and some of the things that you said you were going to do is exactly how the community has responded over the subsequent months between then and now. Including your Rooney purchases. Holy moly, you knocked that one out of the park. The rewards cards, you mentioned specific prices associated with some of the gold foils that you were acquiring, and geez, like those are the things that we look back with, like, oh man, I wish I had that foresight. So yeah, credit to you, bro. You made some excellent call outs, and if anybody has not listened to that episode, I believe it's episode 40 from sometime January, go back and give it a listen. A lot of the advice and insights that Keys drops is more relevant than ever. Being that we're still in the thick of the bear, man. So yeah, I really appreciate you. Yeah, dude. Credit to you. So let's kind of fast forward a little bit to now. Something that you did call out in that last episode that I kind of want to hone in on here is, during the bear, we've got to focus on retention. We are in the midst of pretty much 3 or 4 months of absolute stalemate, waiting for 1.5. We've got all these whispers of things coming in Q4, and all these whispers of things coming in Q1 of next year. Do you feel like, objectively, Keys, have we done enough as a community, as a team, as the Splinterlands unit to focus on the retention? Do you feel like our community is is adhesive and cohesive enough to kind of wait through the rest of this bear?
Man, you build me up and then you hit me with a hard one like that. All right. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think we've done an excellent job at retention, but I don't think it's anyone's fault, if that makes sense. Like I don't blame anybody for what's happened for sure. But I don't think, just to be honest, from a marketing, my day job is digital marketing, email list retention, email marketing and page conversions and stuff. So when I look at the retention of Splinterlands, it's definitely hurting. But I think a large portion of that is tied to assets. So if people see their value of if they join the game for monetary reasons and they join during Chaos Legion era, the value of their cards have gone down. Like, it's just because we're in a bear. It's hard for people to understand that if this is their first cycle. So those people are going to be, somewhat negative without necessarily understanding what's really happening. So I think managing those expectations was a problem from the beginning. The community, and I'll take responsibility for this. We're talking about, when we first started, we were talking about a lot of what are the prices, what are the good cards to get now, why, get this before the price goes up, what's the next thing to skyrocket, because those are the conversations you have in a bull market. And that's where people came into that mentality of trying to generate money and stuff. As the market dips, it's natural for those people to have a problem. And if they didn't get involved in the community like I have, like you guys have, then they're going to have more reservations just because they're seeing their collection value going down. And I didn't see the team do anything out of the ordinary to kind of keep those people engaged during this time either. So, again, I don't blame the team. I just didn't see them do anything extra. They were dealing with every other fire that's out there right now. Like it's not like they were sitting there just partying, like, let's not do anything today. But at the core of everything, I think the game is strong. I think the team is strong. The team is delivering. They are executing on, SPS rewards. They got bots out of Modern. They're doing a lot of big things that are going to help the game. It's just taking longer than we all expected. And that timeline is partially their fault, partially our fault. Because they didn't manage expectations of that timeline well. And then, we get on as me as part of the community, as a content streamer, we got on and talked about, in May, we were saying, hey, June's going to be a huge month. We're getting land, we're getting this and that, and none of it happened. And, I think it's been a tough time for retention, but I'm not too worried long term. I think those people will come back when the game turns around. But yeah, I think it's just been tough all around, to be honest. But yeah, sorry it's not more positive there.
No, we like the honest answers. Don't worry, we won't jump down your throat saying you're spreading salt if you don't give an overly positive answer right away. No, yeah, that's true. I wonder how many of those people, will they come back? Will they rent cars? Do they sell all their assets? Are their assets just kind of sitting there? Are they all in the rental market? Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see, what happens moving forward. And yeah, it's tough. I know the team has just wanted to, get land out, and that's been their focus, and it's certainly taken them longer than probably they have expected. So, but maybe we'll get it. I know they said that it's maybe going to hit Map server next week, but we've heard that before. I'm sort of like, I'm just going to ignore it until, the Discord one morning, or I'm sure my phone will be blowing up with Discord messages from everybody that, it hit. So, and that's all. I'll wait until then. I won't think about it till then. And, just kind of, stay the course and plot along and play the game and enjoy the game as it is until then.
Yeah. And, I've been through this before, because I got in 2019, and that at that point my Bitcoin was worth more than it was in 2020. and or whenever I came back, I would check it periodically. But when it went really way down, I just stopped checking it. I'm like, all right, I'm done. And it took Gank calling me and be like, dude, check your Splinterlands account for me to go back in there. And literally ever since that day, I've been in every day back in it. So some people will come and sell their assets, but other people will double down, I think.
Yeah, I think that's an important perspective to acknowledge. You know, I with all the land stuff, there's, you know, we had Virus on a couple of episodes ago, and he was talking about the value added based on your neighbors, right? And a great call out, great acknowledgement, and certainly something to take into consideration as you're, you know, if you're a newcomer coming in, or, you know, you're an existing player looking to expand, you know your neighbors. It's it transcends real life, and a play is just as applicable into the world of Praetoria. But you know, I found a plot in my region 102 that has been sitting on the market since pretty much day one of survey. And it's if you end up hearing this episode and you're that landowner, reach out to me. I'd love to acquire it off of you somehow. But it's an epic magical land that's been listed for $2,000 since pretty much day one. And I reached out directly I was able to track this user down on Discord and reach out, sent a couple of messages, haven't heard anything. So, you know, I think there's a lot of players who like that, like you just mentioned, you know, they've acquired these assets and they've just kind of, you know, they're waiting in the wings to hear, you know, from friends that or community members that are still actively participating for that message of, hey, you know, 1.5 is live. It's time to make some moves. So I think there's probably a good chunk of folks that are just kind of, you know, biding their time elsewhere. It doesn't do any good if your long-term plan is land. You know, you've lost interest in the game side, the rank side of the game. You know, what good does it do to log in every day and see a decreased value on your overall asset collection, right? Like it's just gonna, more than anything, it's just going to discourage you and probably push you to exit entirely. So, you know, I think when 1.5 does finally hit the production and we can, you know, interact and lock cards up and move all these assets around, I think we'll see, you know, fingers crossed and knock on wood that we'll see an influx of players that we haven't heard from in quite some time. And Keys, man, you know, the fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, right? That land is coming to Mav server this weekend, and it fell short. And, you know, here we are with that a month in the rear view, and we've got whispers of it coming again. You know, I really
even made that proclamation again. Like, I just put it out there and say, hey, guess what? I don't know.
That was Key's advice, was like, I would love to just hop on Twitter and see that, you know, Praetoria on the Mav server is live. Like, no better surprise than, holy shit, here it is. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Hopefully they felt confident enough to make that proclamation again, and we can see some deliverance of that bad boy.
Yeah, I hope so. Did they say this weekend again?
I hadn't heard that.
What's that?
I hadn't heard that, but I've been so busy this week, I haven't had a chance to really mess around with Discord very much.
I looked at the recap. I didn't get to listen to the town hall this week. But I thought in the recap it said that, like, they're like, we're 80% of the way done, and it's gonna get to the map server. We're 80% of the way, like, debugging stuff, and we're gonna get to the map server soon.
When I listened to it this week, I didn't take I was like, God, that's October.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I hope you're right. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
I mean, at this point, it is what it is. Like, we've just got to, our beds are made. We've just got to lie in them, and you know, it's a big play. They've got one chance. You know, I feel like we're beating a dead horse with this sort of commentary, but for the most part, they've got one shot at a first impression, and they've got to 10 out of 10 that baby, and get the judges to, you know, give a standing ovation. That's my take on it. I'm we were talking with Investigator a couple of episodes ago, and it sounded like we might be getting some of the aspects that were pinned for 1.6 included in 1.5 to kind of, ease things and appease the salt from the delays and that sort of stuff. I hope it comes to fruition. It remains to be seen, but I will say I do feel really positive. I did watch probably a good half hour of this week's town hall, and Weirdbeard did the full walkthrough of, what does land operations look like, and it looks clean. It looks good.
Yeah, and as long as it works, if they just deliver on what they promised, I think we're set. And to be honest, at this point, I personally am really excited about land, but the game needs a different focus. Like it's time.
Yeah.
Because land is such a level 2 or level 3 player, like someone that's been in the game for a while and has assets. It's not for that new player or someone that started 3 or 4 months ago. That's not what it's for. So by this much focus on land, it's really taken away from new players, from talking about new player experience. So I'm excited to get it up and get it out and get back to the meat of the game.
Yeah, I agree. Because land is not going to be fun, right? Especially land 1.5. I mean, like,
I hope it is a little fun.
It's not going to be fun. It's there for a reason. It's there as like a D5 stuff. It's there to sync cards. It's there to sync DC. It's going to be very useful. It's going to be great. It could eventually be this amazing thing where we could do all this amazing fun stuff.
Right.
But it's not going to be like fun in the sense of like games are fun unless, sure, some people really like that. Like we had Virus on and he loves doing the spreadsheets and he loves getting all of it optimized. But like you're going to those types of people are going to have that figured out already, right? So like once Land 1.5 hits, like they've already done the fun stuff for them is doing all the work and the calculations. And I get how that stuff can be fun to people. I'm not knocking that in any way, but those are the type of people who they've already had their fun, right? They just want it all to be live so they can put it all in and they're gonna be like, all right,
I did it.
It's good. It's done.
Well, okay. So
it's working as I calculated it would be awesome, which is very cool. But like at that point, then it's like, okay, then it's just going to run. And then it's just like, the claim every day. But like, it's just like kind of those things where like, was the Golem Overlord, like it's an okay game. It's not like that much fun. I don't think for me personally, because like, I don't like those games where you're just like going into like claim a resource, like hit a button. Like that's not a game. That's just like another task you got to do every day. It's like taking out the trash is not a game. It's just something you got to do. So
if you were an SPS, you could be.
Yeah, right. Yeah, get SPS for taking the trash out. But I guess I don't get yelled at. So that's which might be even better than SPS, but it's only at
a win-win
1.15 cents. So, yeah, but no, it's just like let's get back to focusing on some stuff that's like you said, it's a level once you're into the game for a little bit and you have cards and you have cards you need something to do with. And when we be able to actually min cards and stuff, that'll be way more interesting. But yeah, it's a level 2 or 3 play once you're into the game, but it's not necessarily bringing new people into the game right now. So I'd love to see. Yeah, I can't wait to get that out and get more of the focus back on the Game Pass or whatever we're going to do to kind of drive more engagement with the actual game. Yeah,
it's a good thing fun is subjective, Hep. I hope there's a lot of folks that find land as interesting as everybody hopes that they will. It's I'm like you, like I feel like it felt a little bit chore-ish to put together my spreadsheets. Like it's going to be fun to participate, but what I'm really looking forward to as a player and enjoyer of games and the entertainment aspect of all of this is like the boss monsters and being able to rally at a particular plot of land for, a house party hosted by DJ Tony B or whatever, when we can start to incorporate other things into lands and really, weave the fabric of the community that exists into, this AI space, or VR space, I should say, that's where I think the real long-term fun is for me. Of course, minting cards and spells and items and all that sort of stuff is fun. I think a lot of folks are really looking forward to the liquidity pool plays with, we've got 50 50 tokens. And that's something else you nailed, Keys, on our last episode was, I think, we all kind of raised our eyebrows when you suggested 20 new tokens coming into the game. And then sure enough, Yabba comes on and, well, it's not 20, it's 50.
50.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I think I agree with both of you guys. I would love to see, and I'm going to call back the investigator episode again. He kind of alluded to Rebellion not just being a card set, but being, issuing in a new era of Splinterlands. So game mechanics and look and feel, which is, I think, what this community desperately needs to maintain that positive conviction in the future of Splinterlands.
Yeah. I'm excited. And I've said it a couple of times. I think the conversations we're having now as a community are going to be completely different in 6 months. In 6 months, theoretically, we'll have another set out. We'll have land 1.6 out. And I think everything will be radically different. And the direction, I think, will be a little bit more clear. Because at Splinterfest, they showed us the cards of Rebellion. And they don't have, like, edges to the cards. The full card art. And there's, like, different things that they could do with these new abilities. But also, like, Zerial. I don't think they're just going to make Zerial as one card. They can do two different things or play in two different sets and just leave her alone. I think that's going to be kind of something around that's going to be expanded with Rebellion. And then once Rebellion comes out, I think we'll be on a much better pace of pack releases where I think we'll get Chaos Legion out of Modern even sooner than some people think. If this is a new direction, if this is kind of this new way of this gameplay, then Chaos Legion will seem so outdated at that point. So, I think they're going to. I just think they've learned from their mistakes in a lot of ways. Chaos Legion was such a massive set with 15 million packs. Then they're going to make that or fix that with this set, and to a point where we'll need another set in X amount of months or whatever, or within a year or whatever it is. But I think it's going to be an interesting time.
That will be interesting. One of the things I've struggled with recently, not really struggled, one of the things I've been thinking about is, especially now in Modern, the rewards are just so much better in Modern. Seems like more of the bots are in Wild. All the bots are in Wild. So the matches are harder there than they were before. It's definitely more of a grind for less reward. And I know you said last time you were on, you talked about how, you mostly just, ran a bot and just did brawls. Have you been doing that in Wild? Have you been playing in Modern, because awards are so much better? And sort of what do you think about moving? What are we going to do moving forward? Does it make sense to not play in Wild, to just put those cards to land and just, revamp your Modern decks all the time? What have you thought about that? Like, what are we going to do, when Untamed goes to Wild? What are you going to do when, Chaos Legion goes to Wild?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And kind of the real question for a lot of players is like, how do you prepare your deck? And for me personally, I have so many, I didn't understand the game when I first got started about leveling up and stuff. So most of my beta cards are like at gold level, and then so most of them are like level 6, and then that's it. So most of my playing deck isn't going to be touched for everything I put on land, except for a few gold foils and a few I don't know, my Lord of Darkness, that's going on land, but my deck's going to take a little hit. But to me, it doesn't really matter because I let the bot run it, and whatever rewards I get, and they definitely are down a little bit, I get, and that's just what it is. But I do enjoy playing in my guild brawls, and I do occasionally like playing the tournament. And I've been playing Modern every once in a while just to play. But for me, I mean, I spend all my time in the markets, like looking at asset prices. I really like alpha packs right now. I'm sitting at $40. Like I keep going back to those, and I have to keep myself from converting DEC for land to Hive to be able to buy those right now. So, I think there's a lot of good buys, and I like watching for that. And I don't have to stay as active, and I can do that when I want and put in bid orders and stuff. So that's where I spend most of my time in the ecosystem. But I do like playing. I love my guild brawls, but it hasn't been for me. I think the best thing for the game would be to get Untamed out as soon as possible, because all of a sudden, all the cheap packs and all the cheaper cards are what's available for new players. So it's much easier to come in. It's much easier to level up your deck. You don't have to worry about buying that kitty or that Yoden or whatever that's out there. So you can be competitive much faster. I think that'll be really good for the game. And I'm hoping Land eats up most of Chaos Legion anyway.
Yeah, we've heard a couple of folks kind of call Chaos Legion as the the de facto set for land. I don't think there was ever any intention to make it that way. Obviously, the packs and the number of cards minted at the time was reflective of what was going on in the greater crypto ecosystem. But yeah, with hindsight, it's clear that I think Chaos Legion is the easy winner to call as the land set. I found it really interesting. A couple of weeks ago, maybe it was 2 town halls ago, Aggie very loosely lipped dropped the Rebellion's coming this year. Oh wait, I can't say anything. Oh, Rebellion will definitely be here before the end of the year, but wait, I can't say anything. And then this past town hall, he reverted back to I'm not going to disclose anything. With the exception that we are not going to, he put down the hard step down and said, we're not going to decide or disclose what our total volume of packs for Rebellion is going to be until probably a week before release. And big respect to Aggie for kind of coming out, getting ahead of the curve on that one. I think that's got to be the right call.
Yeah. Even with Chaos Legion.
Yeah.
If you think about when they announced the set size, I think in October. They came out in November. SPS was 80 cents when the pre-sale happened for Chaos Legion. 80 cents per SPS. And we were being airdropped SPS for holding assets at that time. So people could buy tons of cards and it didn't matter. 2 months later, SPS was 25 cents when they did the public sale. So all of a sudden, all of the hype and everything that we had at the beginning, the value that we had to buy those packs rapidly diminished between the time of the announcement and the time of being able to purchase. So I think announcing all of it the week of is ideal. I think that's perfect. And I do think we're getting it by the end of the year. The company needs the money, I think.
Yeah.
That's how they make money, and they haven't done it this year.
Well, this goes back to something else that you had talked about, Keys, and I thought it was very sage advice in generating revenue. I don't think should be exclusive to the pack sales, regardless of overall volume. I would love to see something like the time crystals or something else that becomes available for purchase via credits, and that those funds go directly into the onto the balance sheet as revenue for the business. I think Battle Pass is an easy one, but I was revisiting our conversation earlier in the year, and with as is the case for most Battle Passes, those things tend to pay for themselves after a couple of months of play. So I think having these little pieces that still funnel revenue into the bottom line of the business is absolutely imperative, and I would love to see that come true. But yeah, with the Rebellion stuff, I think it must have been Infidel who was talking about a particular comment during town hall where it was the question was very particular about its figures of 5 million packs at $10 a piece or something like that. And I had to, rewind on YouTube to make sure I was hearing correctly. What would you guys think if yeah, I don't suspect. I think Splinterlands would shoot itself in the foot if we saw $10 packs roll out for the core set. I think that would be a criminal mistake. I suspect we'll see something closer to the chaos. I would imagine $4 is going to be the ceiling for the time being. But where's your take on those numbers, those prices?
Yeah, so I think the company needs to get freaking creative. I think they need to. I mean, I'll be honest. I think they need to step it up a little. All the discussions we've had, and I've heard everyone, I don't like any of them about the pricing and stuff. And I think that they need to do something different. What I mean by that is, so for example, there's so many different pack sales of NFTs across so many different platforms I participated in. And one thing that I've seen that works very well is having a regular pack and having a premium pack. And that premium pack has different odds of getting legendaries than the regular pack. The regular pack has 5 cards. The premium has 25 or something like that. And you charge different amounts for those. And so and do something different. So we're not comparing everything to how things were. This is a new launch and a new thing. You could do things like release 50,000 packs every day, or just start doing that, and it would take a month or so to get to 1 million. And so, or let's see, 20 days to get to 1 million. It would take you 40 days to get to 2 million. And as soon as they don't sell out, whatever doesn't sell out that day burns, and there's a set cap. So people that buy early be able to get these cards early and play them, or they can sell them and get a profit. However you want to play the angle, but there will be a limited supply until a certain point, and then whatever doesn't sell burns. I think they get creative and do something different. I would love to see, back to your point, and I think this is the most critical point in Splinterlands that needs to be communicated more effectively to the community and the team. I think the team is gun shy about asking for money because they don't want to be ridiculed and say, oh, this is just a money grab, it's a rug pull. And then the community isn't doing a good job of supporting the team, because when they do ask for money, we're like, no, we're not going to buy that card. This is a rug pull, you money grab. So there has to be a balance. I love the time crystals for revenue for the company, because time crystals is a direct result of how effective the company is at building land. If they build a good product, people are going to want to use time crystals. And that's just a way to reward the people that built the land, in my opinion. And it's such a small amount, I think, of DEC being burned, but it would be good revenue for the company, I think. Same thing with cards. If let's say we had a non-card market that had skins, like a skin market. So we had an NFT asset that wasn't tied to the meta. Then you buy X amount of packs, you get a certain skin. You buy, so you get other rewards that are non-cards that can be given out and collected and sold and do stuff with, because the cards themselves, every promo card has to be taken into account for the meta of the whole game. So it's difficult to add new cards at a high rate, but you could add new skins. You could add seasonal skins. You could have a Lord of Darkness with a Santa hat. You could do some really cool things to skin your NFTs and make them rare, make them unique, and give them out as bonuses. And you're not affecting anything in the game, but you're adding assets and incentivizing purchases. So these are the types of things I'd love to see them do to push this new set out, and have some type of burn mechanism involved. So we don't really know what the ultimate set will be, but we know what a cap will be. And if we don't buy them all, they're going to burn, and have it set up from the beginning, unlike Rift Watchers and Chaos Legion, where they implemented it after the fact. Like, let's think about every scenario from the beginning and let it run its course. So I just think I hope they get creative with this set and do something different, because I think it's a good time to do something different. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that was good. I think it'd be tough at $10, right? Because
yeah,
look at people aren't buying Rift Watcher packs even. Like, no, even so, some of those cards are great and they're powerful cards, and some of the resale values of a lot of those cards are still so high. But it's it's still just, if they're that much money, are people going to buy packs, or everybody's going to say, well, no, I'll wait and try to just buy the cards that I really want? And then you kind of get to the point, well, there's just no cards in the market. I mean, even look at the liquidity of a lot of the Rift Watcher cards. I was looking at, what card was it the other day? I was like, oh, I only have this. Oh, it was the Bramble Pixie. I was like, I only have a level 6 instead of a level 8. I play in gold. And every once in a while, I'll look and see, well, how much is it going to cost me to get it from 6 to 8? And I was looking at it the other day, and there's not even enough cards in the market for me to go to 6 to 8. There's only like 70 cards in the market of that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, then people just don't care, right? Because the meta just doesn't really change if it's too expensive for everybody to have it, or the player base just isn't, that interested in it. So it's tough. I would almost like to see them do like, hey, the packs are going to be $2, but you know what? We're going to double the amount of cards you need to combine for everything, because then it's like, well, maybe we have more packs, but they're half the price. And, then you still got all the same kind of chances maybe of getting, legendaries and gold foils that people like to get and like to see. And it's fun to open packs, right? Like, would I buy more cards? Would I buy more Rift Watcher packs, spend more money on them if they were half the price? I might just because I like opening packs, and people like opening packs, or people might buy them more as an investment because, like, hey, if they do go up, in money, like I can make some money off them. Or are people going to think they can make money off a $10 pack? Probably not, because they saw what happened with Chaos Legion and the assets just fell. Like, Chaos Legion packs are still under $2, right? What if you start at $2, but say, I know they don't want to do a ton of packs and cards out there, but if it's something like that where they say, well, this set's going to have to be, because they've changed the amount of cards you need to combine to get certain levels before. That's been done before, right? Some of the, like the to get to the gold level for the alpha and betas, it's 5 instead of 6. So what if they say, all right, we're going to make it be, 8 instead of 6, or 10 instead of 6? So just something kind of, definitely something creative like that, I think would help a lot. But I totally agree with you. They got to do something. They can't just set a price and like they did and say it's going to be this many packs and let's see what we do. And if we don't sell them, we'll burn them. Yeah.
I think Hero does a really good job. If you're familiar with them, they sell packs. Now, the cards you can't play, but you can use them to collect and improve your score, like your rating score, and you get airdrops and stuff for that. But all of their packs have gone up in value after they went out, because whatever didn't sell during the window, they immediately, burn the rest. And then they also did something cool where, and this is where the battle pass, I think, is so critical, because you can incentivize any action on the blockchain. So you could give bonus, XP or battle pass points for opening packs. So you can incentivize the opening of the pack beyond just the cards and stuff, and pay out on the actual opening process. And so I would love to see some of those mechanics in the future too, like earning XP or something, like some type of, accrual process for engaging in the blockchain beyond just playing the game.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, I feel like with guys like, Yaba, Hardpoint, Weirdbeard, those guys are all gamers to their core, right? And they've got their ear to the ground across, well outside of just Splinterlands and Web3 stuff. And a lot of the things that you're pointing to, Keys, are pulling aspects from, the traditional Nintendo type stuff, as well as, like the more progressive game like Fortnite with the exclusive skins and all that sort of stuff. And then you're looking at the more Web3 model with, predetermined pack burning dates and times and 24-hour period limits and all that sort of stuff. I think we as a community, would be shocked if Rebellion is not sold in a fashion that completely blows our minds. I think the Rift Watchers and the fallout from those initial proposals on the heels of Rift Watchers, I think it was the pack sale went live, and then less than a month later, Yaba was putting out proposals to make it available for DEC, and Oh man, the whole community lost its minds. You're kicking me while I'm down, sort of thing, and totally and totally taking advantage of me buying into this exclusive pre-sale. We've got to be taking notes on all of that stuff and factor all of those components into the equation for Rebellion. So I'm with both of you guys. I expect some very out of the box thinking, some super creative solutions in terms of how do we, Rebellion needs to be protected from both bear and bull, in my opinion. Like we need to have the foresight to plan for the worst and hope for the best, and come up with an equation that satisfies effectively both sides of that equation.
Yep. I think you're right. And I think the game itself needs to do that. And I think land is a big part of that, by bear, protecting us from the bear. Because we haven't had card sinks until now. And I think that's if you just keep adding cards, the price is going to go down. I mean, that's just how it's going to be, unless you have a way to get rid of them. And Aftersound mentioned something on the stream with me not too long ago about burning cards. And I love the idea of, for the next promo card, instead of burning vouchers, you burn cards. You burn one BCX card and you get one of that, or burn 5 BCX of a card and you get one of the cards, or whatever it is. So I would love to see things like that where we incentivize the burning of cards and not just DEC.
I'm curious what you guys think. For a long time we had a pretty much guarantee that Yaba was going to be present on a monthly basis for town halls, and then we've kind of moved to a world. Well, we have moved to a world where town halls are bi-monthly, and we haven't heard from Yaba in a while. I'm just curious. Do you guys feel like we talked about this again, calling back our episode keys? You had a conversation with both Yaba and Aggie at Splinterfest, and you 100% confirmed that they are human. They're not. Our ship is not being steered by a couple of androids.
Not yet.
Not yet. Do you guys reckon that it's Yaba just kind of nose to the grindstone? Do you feel like he's reeling in this extended bear market and just focused on land? What do you? I know I'm asking you guys to kind of, project and look into your crystal balls, but are you reading anything past the fact that he has been absent from the past couple of months of town halls, and we're still waiting on lands?
Kyle, you want to go first?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nice move, Keys.
I at first do think that maybe they're just trying to make sure that the land is balanced, right? Like really balanced, and there's not something that's going to throw everything off. But again, I think this is something you brought up on your stream as well, Keys, that you said, like, some of these things like the taxes and things like that are going to be involved. Like, isn't this stuff that they knew about for so long? That why is the kind of the changes and the things are really like working to nail down now? So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can speculate one way or the other. I don't think he's like ducking us. I don't think he's just kind of ducking and hiding out from everybody. So either it's working, or they're trying to nail down other partnerships, or trying to get something going for the team. Yeah, like you said, Keys, because they haven't had a pack sale out for a while. So who knows what he's running around doing. I mean, yeah, it's tough to say.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's ducking us. I do feel like we're just in a weird period right now that they were waiting for land. I mean, they even said it. We're not going to talk about anything else until land comes out. So, and I mean, Changos, you said it too, dude. Beating a dead horse, talking about land. What is Matt going to talk about? Like, what is he going to say that we haven't heard? I mean, luckily we got a walkthrough this week, and that bought them some time. Like they're doing a good job. They didn't have much to talk about last week, so they teased, or 2 weeks ago, so they teased Rebellion, and that kept the community engaged for a couple weeks. And now they gave us a walkthrough through land. That'll keep us good for 2 weeks. Hopefully Matt will be on the next one and say, really answering questions about land and what's going on. But I think less is more. Right now, less Matt is better for us, because the last thing we want is them having extra time talking about this and say something that doesn't come true, or isn't true yet, or doesn't meet expectations. So the less town halls and stuff they do right now until they get land out is probably the better. The less Matt we have is probably the better. We didn't see Nate, we didn't see anybody. They're just trying to get us to that point and get this land out, I think. And once that comes out, every discussion will change.
I think that's fair.
What the team looks like right now too. I mean, Matt could be actually working on the coding of it. He could be in there. He could be coding. I mean, he could be just like locked in his basement coding for the last,
which is best case scenario, to be honest.
Yeah,
because he's great at it.
Well, I was actually thinking, I was going to wager a guess that he's working on 2.0 white paper. We still haven't seen whispers of that. I would guess that, he feels the sense of urgency to have that delivered very quickly on the heels of 1.5. So that was my guess.
Good though? Do you think that would be good though, to kind of put that out so close? Because then it's just going to be like, people are going to be like, okay, well, when's this coming out? Is it going to, people going to start chomping at the bit for 2.0 before, even
Man, people are already chomping at the bit for 2.0. I mean, it's a very savage, just, it's hiding behind my computer screen, dropping these super salty comments via Discord. And credit to Weirdbeard and Aggroad for continuing to keep it together. Despite all of these calls for, well, where's 2.0? Like people are not shy to dropping those sorts of comments and questions. So I think, I'm thinking back to when we dropped Land 1.0. The hype and excitement lasted a couple of weeks, and then it faded into distant memory. So I think, with that in mind, it would have been very beneficial to have the 1.5, kind of details disclosed, so that all of that planning that has happened subsequently could have been underway. So yes, I do think 2.0 white paper should be delivered shortly after 1.5, just for the sake of the community's peace of mind and planning, and that we know where we're going. We're not, shooting from the hip and flying from by the seat of our pants. We have the plan. Here is the plan. This is what we're going to be working towards in the background. And, I don't know if it's like the day of, I don't think that's the right call, but, I would say 1.5, we get it next month sometime. I would expect the 2.0 white paper definitely before the end of the year. What would be my expectation?
When do you think 1.6 will come out?
Oh boy. I think the team recognizes the need for, I think land surfing is going to be the real game changer for what's on the table with 1.5. I think the ultimate call is really going to be, how desperately do we need it as a community, based on, what percent of fully activated land do we see? If it comes out the gate and we're at 10% fully activated land surfing priority numero uno in my mind. But if we come out and we're, 25, between 20 and 30%, I would call 1.5 a success. I think that buys the team a little bit of extra time with regards to getting, I think surfing is the cornerstone of 1.6, I think, in my mind. Either way, I would guess within a handful of months would be my guess.
What do you guys think as far as utilization percentage wise for land, like you just said, and let's say within the first 30 days?
I don't know. That's tough. It's within the first 30 days of all total land. I don't know. I think 15% would be good. I think 15% within the first 30 days. I think 15% would be a solid number. I'd be happy to see 15%. I think anything over 10 is probably good. Because we got to. I just don't. I don't know. I just like I could probably come up with a better estimate. I know I've seen the numbers, and a lot of people have posted numbers about how many people own like X amount of plots. The people with 3 plots, so they'll probably be ready to go. I think I have 15. I think I'll probably be 9, 8, 9 or 10. Maybe not even that. Yeah, probably somewhere around that. Right away. But then, there's so much land that people own. There's a few people who just own so much land. So it'll be tough. And with land surfing, I'm wondering, how much does that number bump up from land surfing? Like right now, like how many people do we have in the community, active players who want to get in on land, who haven't just bought a plot of land at $30? Like there's so much cheap land out there right now that if you're someone who's just like, I want to get in on land, you could buy a plot and sink some of your Chaos Legion cards on it pretty easily. It's not like land is $200 still, like, back like it was a year ago, right? When it's that price, it's like, wow, that's, that's a lot of money for some people. There's a lot of people, in the game who, want to play and want to be part of the community, and they're great members of the community, but they don't want to sink $200 on a piece of land. But I think that calculus has changed, when those prices come down, and they've started to come, they've come back down in the last couple of weeks. I was looking the other day. It's like, they're back down to under $40. So, I mean, I think I don't know how big land surfing is even going to be at this point, with just because the availability of plots were so cheap. The people who maybe have cards that fit on 1 or 2 plots, you can go buy those plots, So, so yeah,
I would say that, just to play devil's advocate there, Hep, when we were still in kind of the nebulous world of lands unforeseen, and we didn't really have the guys like Tails and Virus crunching all the numbers, putting them on full display, talking about ongoing costs that are required to continue land. It was much easier to go out and just buy a plot and say, I'm going to play Praetoria. Once we started seeing those numbers, that realization started to really sink in, and holy moly, land it's not a cheap aspect of the game by any stretch of the imagination. So I would say that, for anybody who was on the fence, land surfing really changed that discussion and that thought process of, this is going to be how I participate is purely through land surfing. And I would guess land surfing probably doubles our overall utilization from wherever we're at. If we get around, and back to your question, Keys, I would like to see, and I would call it successful if we hit 15 to 20% out of the gate in the first 30 days as full, 100% utilization. And I would venture to guess that land surfing gets that closer to 40% doubled. I've got guys like Matt Clark and Cryptomancer in mind who own, thousands of plots. There is no way on God's green earth that they're going to be able to manage and fully activate that land, even from a pure DEC perspective. We see Cryptomancer with, ungodly amounts of DEC, and he still doesn't have enough to activate all of his land. I feel like surfing is the clear solution there. And, I don't know if either of you guys follow Matt Clark and Boba Fett and Geo over on 101, but Matt Clark is already planning for land surfing to be his solution for the next 12 to 24 months in brokering deals, in personal conversations with folks around, hey, you come stake your monsters. I'll give you a 12-month contract of, tenant unbothered, for that, for that time period. So I'm guessing surfing is going to make massive waves. Man, I'm full of puns today, guys. So yeah, I would say 15 to 20% out of the gate first 30 days, and I'm going to guess double whatever that number is with come surfing. Where's your head at on some of these speculations there, Keys?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm in a weird spot because I think land utilization, I think 35-40% will have cards on them, staked on them by the end of a month. I don't see a world where Matt Clark, I don't see a place where these guys aren't, like, once they get into it, they don't just keep loading up their land. They're not just going to let land just sit there, because I think it's pretty ingenious the way it's set up. The more land you have, the more, I mean, it's obvious. The more you have, the more you can make, but that's not the same as you have to create grain to feed your monsters. And if you have enough land, you can create all the grain you need to mine your SPS and to harvest your research. So then it just becomes about how do you figure it out to balance it so that way you don't have to pay anything and it just runs itself. And I think the more plots you have fired up, the better it will be. And I'm even putting, cards on my land that are not like I've got 20-25 plots, something like that. And a lot of my plots are going to have 4,000 or 5,000 PP total on the plot. But I don't care. It's going to be a neutral. Like I'm going to be making more grain than I'm, eating. So then I can use that to feed my occupied plot, where I'm going to be needing a lot more grain because it's not, creating any. I'm just getting SPS. So, I think people are really going to expand out, especially that second and third week, and just fire up any plots they can because they need more grain. And if they fire up plots, then they don't have to buy as much grain. And so I feel like people that have under 20-25 plots, they'll all be fired up within a month. At least most of them. I'd be surprised, Hep, if you don't have all yours fired up by the end of the first month. Because I don't have all the DEC I need, but if I put smaller cards on them, like a level 3 card or something, I don't need 10,000 DEC per spot. I need 800 DEC, and that's a lot more manageable. And then over time, I can accumulate more DEC, sell a card, sell whatever, and then, put better monsters on it or buy better monsters or whatever. So I think it's going to be interesting real quick. I think the game will change radically.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Out. Yeah, I think, guys like Matt Clark, who are really looking to land surfing to kind of save their region, so to speak. It wouldn't surprise me if there's already conversations behind closed doors around, hey, Matt Clark, he's got a reputation as being, a very generous community member. He's, an upstanding citizen of Splinterlands for ages. He's got a huge presence on Hive. His reputation would be on the line if something went awry. And, he's got a high degree of trust and confidence in doing the right thing and the best thing for the community. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's conversations already happening of, hey, Matt Clark, I have these cards. I have no plots. I will send you these cards and you can stake them and earn from them. Let's broker a deal under the table and sign some agreement to help you help me, sort of thing. And then that completely sidesteps land surfing, at least for the time being. But do you
think land surfing's coming out? Because
yeah,
I haven't seen anything on it. Like, it's not in the 1.5 white paper, which is basically 1.5 and 1.6 editions. We haven't had like a write-up or anything on it. So I still feel like land surfing's like land 1.65 or 1.7. I think that's down the road a ways.
I would be surprised. I think we've heard talks around what 1.6 is going to include, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I've heard surfing individually called out as being the cornerstone of 1.6.
I think they did. I think maybe I want to say it was Weirdbeard said that in the town hall at some point. It was after, we had the discussion with Hardpoint about land surfing. I think it did kind of come out. I believe it was. That's in my memory, though. That was a while ago, so I could be wrong. But
yeah, I'm just not sure.
We've also got the new status quo of we're not talking about anything other than what's on our plate right now. So
which they've broken that rule a number of times, I feel like. So
there's always there's always exceptions. Yeah. Well, man, Keys, I gotta say that number, I hope you're right, man. That's a big fat whopper of a number you're claiming in 30 days, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I truly think too. I'm not just hyping. Like I'm not. I really want to be right on this one, but but I do think that's what it'll be. I just don't see a world where I'm going to let a plot of land, if I have 25 or anybody has any amount of land, that they're just going to let it sit there and wait for something to happen. Like they're going to buy a 5 BCX rare card and throw it on there just because you're earning more grain than you're losing. And you're not losing
opportunity cost is too big.
Yeah, and you're not losing DEC. You're just locking it up. And now's the time to lock it up when it's under peg. Because then when it hits peg, you just gain 25% on that tokens. So there's so many reasons why it'd be intelligent to fire up every plot, regardless of what you put on it, as long as it's positive. Is you're not, you don't fire up everything on SPS because then you have to buy grain all the time. But if you can fire up all your extra plots that you were thinking about just leaving and just getting a little bit of grain every day that you can then use to feed all your main plots, I think people are going to do that. And I think it'll snowball, and all of a sudden we'll have 30-40%, fired up. Now they all won't be maxed. You won't have max monsters on everything, but I think it's going to be better than 10 or 15%. Gosh, I hope so, to be honest.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I kind of didn't think of it that way, as having to clear. It's better to just get something on there to start clearing it, at least, even and then maybe once you start to get stuff cleared, you can start to look at put max monsters on it. I'm always thinking of, well, I want at least a gold foil common on there, or something with that, at least a couple thousand production points.
And clear land will probably sell for more too, right? And once you're not just buying a plot anymore, you're buying a cleared plot, or you're buying one that isn't cleared. And so if you're going to buy a plot of land, I'd rather buy a freaking cleared one. So it might be wise to just clear plots and sell them. I mean, you might be able to make money that way.
Is that a little hint at the plans of Keys? All right, are you going to be the landscaper?
No, my goal is to buy all the assets that people aren't looking at when land comes. I'm looking at land as a great opportunity. It's a great distraction for the marketplace. Everyone's going to be looking at cards. Everyone's going to be focused on land. No one's going to be looking at tower defense. No one's going to be looking at some of these other things that are sitting there that will go up in value, especially tower defense, I think, is one specifically that is just so depressed and will continue to be depressed until we get news on it. And then once we get news, we could see prices go from $1.60 a pack to $2.50, $3 a pack in a week. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, I think, as land is happening, not only on land, but in the markets around it.
Yeah, I did want to ask you, so you kind of just alluded to that. You referenced alpha packs earlier as being an enticing buy at the moment. What is Keys currently doing? You said you spend a lot of your time on the markets, looking at the economy side of the stuff, and what's selling for where, and where's the opportunity? Where can I zig when everybody else is zagging? Where is Keys zigging at the moment?
Yeah, well,
if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, I don't give a shit, man. I'm overinflated on land. I have more land than I need, more land than I could ever really utilize. So my goal is to sell into the hype of land. So when people are really excited, land's firing up, land's out, I have a few plots that I've kind of set aside to sell during that time. And then use that to buy whatever I do think is overly depressed. Alpha packs, I think, just because there's so few of them. And if this game does make it on the long run, then those are going to be collector items almost. And we've seen alpha packs skyrocket. We know the value. We've seen the value be much, much higher than it is now. And there's even fewer on the marketplace and available after the Great Burning, and Splinterlands unloaded a lot that they had in the coffers. So I like alpha packs as more of a long-term hold. I think a short to medium-term hold is the tower defense packs, because we just haven't heard anything. If they announce it, if you can open them, there's not a world that those packs won't double in price within a week of announcement or even pack opening. So I think those are easy wins. And then I do think there's some cards that are very low value right now. And those are like your regular rare and epic cards, regular foil, rare and epic for Chaos Legion. I think those are so low right now. And when people realize, hey, I just need extra PP on my land, they're going to start buying those up. So some things I'm kind of keeping my eye on. I'm not making a lot of moves right now. But I've already made my moves, getting ready for the next big move. Just waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, the PAX is a really interesting one. And I think one that is especially susceptible to very volatile market response. You know, we've heard the talks around a new guild building that could require or could benefit from packs being staked on it. And if you've got a slew of alpha packs, while you're waiting for the bull, that they're going to get you some big fat returns or benefit to the whole guild by staking those into this building. $40, those are going to vanish in an instant. Like you said, man, we're one announcement away from total volatility on that particular asset. I think you're right, spot on there.
And it could be like a 10x multiplier, like it is for land. So if you stake a Chaos Legion pack, you get 1x. You stake a alpha pack, you get 10x multiplier for your land. So I mean, it's a lot of interesting things right now. And I think everyone's so focused on land that there's a lot of opportunity sitting in the markets right now.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, what they focus on next, whether it's going to be tower defense or whether it's going to be guild stuff or battle pass or what. Because the tower defense, you're right, we haven't heard, and I didn't even think about that. I feel like I've forgotten about tower defense over the last month, because you just hadn't heard anything about it. I think because I thought there was that proposal where they were gonna stop airdropping rewards until, because those rewards were going to move to actually the gameplay. And but then which I assumed they thought, the gameplay must be coming out soon, but then that was a while ago. I haven't heard anything. So
see, I did really well with those packs. I've done well with them twice so far. And so I bought a whole bunch for like $1.60, and then they made the announcement that it's coming soon, and I sold all of them for like $3. And so now I'm looking at buying back in at $1.60 and doing the same. And at some point I'll just keep some of the packs and start opening them because I'm excited about the game. But in the meantime, if I can keep flipping, I will. And I'm not doing it on big scales. Like, I don't want you all to think I'm some kind of Jeff opens cards.
I was just gonna say that name. I was just gonna say that name. Yeah, man.
I mean, I open card. I mean, it's like I get like moving singular. Like packs of 50. Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, the hustler reveals himself once again, man. Keys, I'm curious with the hustle in mind. I always kind of look to you and your channel. I really enjoyed, and no knock on Gank, but Gank's absence with this music festival adventure he just went on gave you the opportunity to kind of highlight some of your other NFT crypto endeavors. And I really appreciate and enjoy that sort of insight, looking kind of more broadly at the NFT marketplace. Have you noticed, and this is something it's all foreign to me. I don't play with like the VV stuff or, any of the other kind of projects that you've dabbled in over the years. Are you seeing any sorts of encouraging signs of life in particular marketplaces that, maybe we should be, considering taking a peek at, or like where's your eyeballs at outside of Splinterlands? What's going on over there?
Well, to be honest, yes, I'm really encouraged right now at the NFT marketplace as a whole, or the NFT world industry, or whatever it is. I don't know, whatever you call it, because I'm seeing a few companies do things in a different way, and they're doing it right for them. And one that comes to mind is Starbucks. I drink Starbucks. I used to drink it like once every month, whenever my wife would go to Starbucks. Yeah, I'll get one. But then I joined Starbucks Odyssey, and it's a program where you complete quests or do different things, and you get stamps, and the stamps are NFTs, and they do NFT drops as well. Some generative art, so it's one of ones. And they do you get rewards for either buying coffee. I got an NFT for going to Starbucks and just scanning the logo at 3 different Starbucks. And so you get these NFTs, and they've held their value pretty well. But what's really cool is that they're incentivizing their existing loyal fan base with these NFTs, and creating a new type of reward program that is really engaging and really fun. And it's still in beta. It still hasn't rolled out. But I just got a big 22-ounce really bedazzled tumbler from Starbucks just for owning these NFTs, and I gave that to my wife, and she's really happy. So that helps her ignore some of the charges on our account.
Blinded by the bedazzling light. Yeah. Nice, Keys. Nice move.
Yeah, I do what I can, but I think that's really where this industry is going. It's not just gaming, it's not just collectibles, but it's merging some of these things where there's gamification for the rewards, there's the collecting aspect of the rewards, there's the monetary aspect of the rewards, and then you also have the brand that you're involved with and learning more about, which is really cool, because I've taken like tours of their hacienda farm down in Costa Rica to see where they get some of their beans. I would have never done that if I hadn't done it intentionally to get my NFT stamp. So I think things like that are really interesting, at where this industry is going. Ducati just released an NFT like pass. I got the pass for Ducati. They're releasing some really cool NFTs about their bikes, and give you experiences if you get the complete set. I'm not buying them. They're $100, and I couldn't care less about Ducati, but still another way to reward those people. But then there's also a community, DC NFTs, the Bat Cows, which has been something I got into last year, and it's just a Batman 1-of-1 bat cow that he wears, and that NFT has given me a lot of access to different things, and the greatest access it has ever given me comes tomorrow, actually, when Batman #1 comic is dropping on DC NFT platform. And so that comic it's going to be worth instantly a couple $100. Even the most common, the legendary, is going to be worth $5,000, $3,000. It's going to be worth a lot. And if you have a bat cow, you get to buy it before anyone else. There's only 5,000 of them, and I think there's 5,000 cow owners, so I doubt everyone will get one. So I'm hoping to be able to get a Batman #1 tomorrow because of the access I have because of my cow. And that's the kind of cool thing where I think this industry is going to, for fan bases. You can give your fan base, if they buy this one thing, this NFT, they get access to all kinds of stuff. And you reward the people that are most loyal to you. And that Bat Cow has been one of the best NFTs I've ever purchased. it's retained its value, and I've received hundreds of dollars in value from either gifted NFTs or access. So there's a lot in the community. I'm excited for where it's going. NFT is kind of a bad term right now, but I try to tell people it's an acronym for a type of technology. Like, if you don't like something about NFTs, it's like not liking email. Like, how can you not like it? You don't like whoever's sending you spam. That's what you don't like. But you do like the idea of being able to electronically send messages to people in a secure way. So the technology is sound, and businesses are figuring it out, and that's what I'm most excited about. And that's why I want Splinterlands to do other NFT assets that are outside of cards, do more skins, really kind of do some fun stuff like that, because it doesn't cost that much to create them, and it adds another layer of collectability to the game, and it can be an incentive for doing different things, for participating in drops or participating in a season or whatever. So it's a lot of it's I'm excited for the direction it's going. It is a bear market and it's tough, but I think there's a lot of good things happening.
That Starbucks one is a really interesting. You would never expect old Howard Schultz and his very traditional business of selling coffee to people. Obviously he was a super progressive thinker with Starbucks. I remember back in the day, it just kind of exploded on the scene, and all of a sudden there was a Starbucks on just about every corner, and now it's super international, and it's almost an icon of status. I avoid Starbucks like the plague here, because A, the coffee's not that good, and B, it's more expensive here than it is back home, despite a very different cost of living. But it's purely status symbol. It's like you're carrying a Louis Vuitton bag and a Starbucks cup. That's what it is. And
that's the only fashionable thing about me then.
Yeah, you and your bedazzled mug, bro. But yeah, it's so cool to see companies like that starting to dip their toes, and it sounds like diving very quickly beyond that into the world of integrating NFTs into their standard business model. And it's going to take moves like that at a very high level from well-established, well-respected brands that have a big presence on traditional spaces like the stock exchanges, to remove the shit veil that is currently surrounding that word NFT. And as soon as folks start to realize that NFT, like you said, and well articulated that, Keys, it's like hating email. Like, yeah, I don't appreciate email as much as the next guy if it's spam, but obviously there's a lot of value to be had there in terms of it's the best way to communicate with my friends and family back home with sensitive documents or whatever. But it's exciting to hear and to know that there's companies at the forefront like Starbucks, kind of spearheading that sea change in terms of overall perspective towards something like NFT, which is obviously kind of a core piece of Splinterlands and our functionality. So as soon as we can remove that stigma that's associated, we're much better off.
Yeah, and real quick, I'll give you two more. One is McFarlane Toys. It's been an iconic toy maker for decades, and a lot of collectible toys. They are doing something. I've been a part of their Todd McFarlane's digital collectibles, and they've actually released some amazing stuff. And if you hold certain collectibles, you get access to other collectibles. But what's really cool is this fall they're introducing a line of what they're calling fidgetals, which are physical toys that have a digital code that you put into the Todd McFarlane website, and you get a matching NFT. So actually, I have one of them here. Now, granted, this is Black Adam, which I hated that movie, but this was the first one they did. I purchased this for $19.99 on the site, and then I got a code for a digital twin in one of 3 rarities, and I got one of the rare ones, and it's worth like $25. So the digital's is worth more than the physical. And those are going to be in stores and like on Amazon. They're going to be in Target and Walmart coming up. I think this fall. So that's a really cool thing that's happening. And then Nike Swoosh, they have a NFT platform, and they integrated with Fortnite for a week over the summer. So I played on Fortnite, played a special creative map, and then I got NFTs on my Nike Swoosh account. So there's a lot of this mixing and trying to figure out what works right now. And that's what really excites me is you have brands like Starbucks, like you said, Todd McFarlane Toys and Nike that are really trying to figure this stuff out. And it's going to work out well for all of us that have been invested in Web3 for a long time.
That McFarlane Toys. Oh, go ahead, Hep.
I was just curious, what blockchains are these guys? Are these guys running on Ethereum or?
Oh boy, let's see. Polygon is what McFarlane Toys is on, and then, I mean, anything in your Polygon shows up on your Ethereum address too. Yeah. Nifty which is a layered solution to Ethereum. That's Starbucks. What was the other one?
Nike.
I don't remember what Nike is. Yeah. Maybe Solana. I don't know. I don't know. They're all over the place. But shoot, now you got me curious.
Sorry, no, I was just curious too, because it's just like, they're probably not on straight Ethereum with the, with all the fees involved, but I figured they're probably a scale or roll up for Ethereum.
Well, while you're looking that up, I think it's really interesting the approach like McFarlane Toys is taking. Very obviously they're offering an NFT supporting the physical product. They're just wrapping it up and calling it a phygital, which yeah. We're putting makeup on a pig for everybody who doesn't like the word NFT, and we're just calling it something different. And it brings to mind the approach of, Nintendo has essentially had NFTs, soulbound NFTs forever with the Amiibo thing, yeah. Right? They just package it and call it something different. So it's really interesting, and coming from these more traditional businesses like Nintendo, McFarlane Toys, and Starbucks, and wrapping it up and delivering it to people in something called other than an NFT. Well, what is that uptake? And the discovery that actually I've got NFTs when I've been anti-crypto bro for as long as I can remember is that's an interesting approach. It's very cool.
Polygon, it's on Polygon as well. So
okay, interesting.
Yeah, I like Polygon. It's a good little network there. Yeah. But it's a crazy world, man. This thing's changing fast, and one of my other great loves right now is AI. And actually, one of the reasons why I decided to launch my other YouTube channel is an experiment in AI. And so I'm excited to see this whole. Have you heard of the term future shock? It's when the world changes faster than people can accept it's changing, and people get anxious and nervous about the technology because it's changing so fast. I just feel like as a culture, we're about to experience a dramatic case of a future shock where things have evolved so fast, so quickly that keeping up is going to become like a full-time job. So just throw that out there. Switch it up
on a high note. I just give up.
Yeah, I mean but the beautiful part is there's so much opportunity. Like back when the internet was created, so many people lost their jobs because computers took them over. But there were more jobs created because AI or because computers could do new things. So people had to be programmers, people had to be graphic designers or whatever. And AI is going to do the same thing. It's going to kill off a ton of jobs, whether you're a lawyer, a psychiatrist, or whatever you are. But it's going to enable people and empower people to do things in different ways and even allow people to generate more revenue personally through channels like YouTube and podcasting and things than ever before. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, the AI stuff is really really crazy. I had an idea. I would love to see somebody do it. I don't have the time or the funds to really invest in it, but I would love to. I was looking at hiring an AI software service to create a tour of my land in Pretoria as told by David Attenborough, and I would love to have like a proper like BBC style documentary of my land told by the voice of David Attenborough. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think it would just be such a cool twist on everything that's going on with land, and maybe provide some refreshing, just chill out and enjoy what we've got at the moment. And how can you not like David Attenborough? That guy's living legends.
Amen. That'd be awesome. Maybe you should start a GoFundMe or something, because I'd throw a few DEC towards that.
Did you actually price it out? Do you know, like, is that out there, or is this just kind of like something you thought of? Have you actually looked at how much that would cost?
I actually looked at it. The AI voice generation is not cheap. I think it's like most of the AI stuff. Like I use AI generative art software for school here. We're writing and publishing short stories and stuff for kids, and then we're doing like reading MP3s to deliver with that, and so we're using the AI generative software on both the short story side and like making it very curated to the content that we're teaching in class, and then also on the art generative side, and putting together storybooks with immersive, very cool, very unique artwork to go along with that. And man, yeah, the AI stuff it is super powerful tool, but it adds up quick in terms of the pricing models that are associated with those services.
Yeah, it definitely gets expensive quick. But if you can find a way, I'm actually, with my job, really trying to push to them, hey, we need to spend a quarter trying to just focus and learn as much as we can for our departments about how to use this, and then another quarter trying to implement it, because it does add up. But if you're making revenue, let's say you're paying someone $50,000 a year to do social media for you. If you can take 5 hours off their plate for $20 a month, that's worth it. 5 hours a week, that's worth it all day, every day. You find a couple of those tools, and now all of a sudden that one person is able to put out twice the amount of work with the same amount of time, and you're only paying a couple $100 more. So I think things are going to expand real fast, and that's why
I'm getting a case of future shock right now, Keys. I can feel it in my knees.
Man, I'm telling you, today. So just as an example, today we've been wanting to make a quiz for a long time, for our job, to have people come in, take a quiz, and figure out where they rank in their industry and stuff like that. But it seemed like such a daunting task before. But then I took basically the source content, which was like an old quiz that's outdated, and I gave that to AI, and I just wrote what I wanted out of it and broke it down, and it spit out all the questions for the entire quiz and everything. And I said, this is great. Can you give me some instructions on how to use this quiz? It gave me the instructions. I'm like, this is great. Can you now put this in HTML code? And started giving me the code to how to put this on the website. So all of a sudden, I've never coded anything in my life, and now I just created this giant code for this quiz. So it's changing things fast, and this is just where it's at now. And in 6 months, will be light years ahead of that.
Yeah, a whole new space. Man, you're future shocking your whole ecosystem of community members there, Keys.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a wild ride, man. The tide is changing, to go back to your analogy, your puns.
Yeah. Well, dude, we were talking, I forget what it was. It was a few episodes ago of your show with Gank, and you filled me in on the AI generative software for picking apart shorts out of podcast stuff. Like that. Oh man.
Not the clothing, but the actual like YouTube shorts.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, short video.
I'm not
content,
looking for shorts, guys.
yeah, there you go.
The corduroy
Cutoffs. Yeah, like the juice has got to be worth the squeeze if you're making any sort of revenue on your long form content. If you can apply $20 a month to extract hundreds of short, very 30-second, 60-second content videos of content that you're already creating, and the AI is pulling out these pieces, doing, it takes hours to comb through that stuff, number one. Yeah. And then you're not even calculating in, the editing and the posting and all of that stuff and
adding captions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you can hire that AI service for, $20 a month to pull all that stuff out, and, it's just a massive revenue cycle of, drawing eyes to your content and drawing eyes to your longer form stuff. And yeah, brilliant stuff. And yeah.
Have you been using that? Because I saw a short of the thing where, you and Aftershine were talking about the, burning cards to get a new card. Is that what you pull? Okay. Yeah. I was weird. Because like, oh, did they do this? Doesn't seem like they did this themselves. I was wondering where it came from, because it didn't seem like a human did it. Right. It was just like a slightly disjointed, but it was good. It was there. And like, I was like, interesting. I watched it. I liked it. But yeah, so that makes a lot of sense now that you said that. I was like, where are these guys getting the time now? They're putting together shorts and clips of this stuff. I was like, it's great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's if you do long form view on YouTube, you get all the watch hours you need, and you get some of the views. But then you do the shorts on top of that. That's where you make up all your views. And so you really need them to balance out, especially a channel like Gank and I have, where we do, hour and a half discussions, and that's pretty much it. So now we can take that content, break it down into shorts. For anyone listening, the platform is called Opus Pro. And it just spits it out for you. They're not perfect, like you said, but it gets you 85% of the way there. And then you can go in and touch it up, and even edit them and clean them up a little bit. And it's very simple, but if you're making money, doing the long form, it's worth it to do that, to kind of just supplement it.
Yeah. Sure. Cool, Keys. Well, shit, man. I'm always learning new stuff from you, bro. I always appreciate the insights from, behind the lens of good sir Walkingkeys, man. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you being willing to hop on and plug your new up and coming show. I'm, personally, I'm very much looking forward to seeing this thing take off. It's been, we talked about it 9 months ago, and it's here. I'm glad that you were able to, put a nice bow on it and say it's coming with, XYZ date. Hopefully you don't take a page out of Splinterlands book and give us the rug pull on that date of delivery.
Yeah, what comes first, temporarily obsessed or land? What's going to come out first, do we think? We place the bets?
I mean,
my wagers on Keys,
but I'm coming out the 28th, come hell or high water. So hopefully land will hit first, though, at least on my server.
Well, fill us in a little bit more on temporarily obsessed Keys. Is that channel up and running? Can we go subscribe now?
The channel is not up and running. I'm still waiting on one thing before I can turn that live, but I'm going to be announcing it on my Twitter account, and that's Walkingkeys NFT. And I'm going to be doing that hopefully this weekend when I get a little time to create my last bit of assets I need for it. And I'm really excited. I'm actually, my main focus with this is to build a community, and to find like-minded people that just enjoy learning new things and like sharing what they learn, and then just having fun talking with different people and doing new things. So I'm excited, and I appreciate the support, guys.
You got it, man.
Yeah. Everybody's got to go check it out. I'll be there. I'll check it out. I'll make sure subscribe to that, follow along. I'm already trying to think of what's some good skills to suggest. One thing I've been doing recently with my kid, I got a 4-year-old, and she somehow got into paper airplanes. And so I've been trying to like look up online like different paper airplanes to kind of make to like impress her and like throw around with her. So it's like I don't know if you have kids or not. I mean, that's like a fun
Yep.
like skill, like learn how to make a complicated paper airplane. It's like once you memorize it, you can kind of do the muscle memory and do it. So I'm gonna give you that one as an early suggestion. Let me know what you think.
I love it. And it's funny, dude. When my kids were a little younger, I made Matchbox rockets. Like you can make rockets out of like matchsticks.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something I did with them too. So I was like learning on YouTube how to do stuff like that. And yeah, I actually, to be honest, I just went to AI and I was like, hey, here's what I need. I started a whole thread, so it was learning the entire time about what I wanted from my channel. And it gave me descriptions, it gave me like all the tweets I have that I'm going to use to announce and everything. It's given me all of that. And I asked it for, can you give me a list of 30 skills that someone could learn pretty easily within a month? And so it listed out 30, and then I asked for another 50. And so yeah, I mean, there's so many different skills that I think would be really cool from like airplane, how to do that, or how to build like I mean, even insulating an attic or homemade cleaning cleaning materials, like how to, instead of just going to buy Clorox, how to make stuff at home. So yeah, I think there's so much you can do. That's what's got me excited. So, I don't know, learn something new. If I could learn how to make some cool paper airplanes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to share, Keys, what the first life skill is going to be?
I'm not sure yet. I'm going to throw up a big list, and that'll be like the first like community engagement thing that I want to try to do, and get people to pick the skill that we do for October, and then start October 1st with that first new skill for the month. But I'm going to kind of curate a list so that way it's not something I definitely don't want to do. So anything on that list will be stuff I'll be willing to do. Like learn how to skydive. Nope, that's not going to be on the list. That's not a skill I need.
Cool, man. Well, it kind of sounds like you're applying the. Have you read? You must know Tim Ferriss, yeah.
Dude, you're the third person today that's mentioned Tim Ferriss. I am familiar. Wow. Yeah, today. It's not even a joke. And Darkest Night was one of them, by the way. I'm
in good company then. All right.
Yeah. I have not read the book, but again, funny you mentioned that. I put it in my Audible thing today, and I want to buy it.
Yeah, he
4-day work week.
So so 4-day work week is a good one, but the one that came to mind is I think it's called Tools of Titans. And what he did, the model for the book was essentially he would find somebody who's successful in their respective field, whether it's, he's had everybody from, successful strippers to, big top CEOs to, your local neighborhood dentist. It didn't really matter what the trade was, but he would send off a survey of, here's 20 questions, pick 5 that resonate with you and please respond. And then he compiled all this stuff, and it's a really cool insight and a really cool approach to perceiving the value in how these folks achieve success in their respective fields, regardless of field. So it sounds like you're kind of applying that approach, which is super duper cool and definitely leans into those of us that have the curious mind, man. So temporarily obsessed. Count me in, man. I'm already temporarily obsessed. Keys, I love it, dude. Yeah, man.
I'll take it. Any amount of time you're obsessed, I'm in. I appreciate it.
Dude, one last thing, and we'll get you out of here on this, Keys. I don't know if we've ever heard the story of Walkingkeys. Where does this name come from, man?
Well, Walkingkeys actually, my parents' names, their last names, it's the core part of each of their last names. So Walkingkeys. So I just combined them to make Walkingkeys, and I like the idea of being active, not stationary. Like walking symbolizes movement, and then keys symbolizes a door, and you're trying to open it, and that's kind of where I've been my whole life. I mean, this isn't just a fad. I've always been my wife gave me the temporarily obsessed name 4 or 5 years ago when podcasts first started coming out. She's like, you should start a podcast. I'm like, what would I call it? She's like, temporarily obsessed, because that's what you are. You get temporarily obsessed with everything. It's one, for like 3 months, it was Clive Cussler books. I read like every Clive Cussler book. I bought every single one. And then it's comics, and I buy comics, or it's records, or it's whatever. It's a golf cart, and I spend all my time working on my golf cart. Like whatever it is, I just get obsessed. And that's why I think this is a good outlet for me, because it really does speak to the core of who I am, and that's really where Walking Keys kind of came from. That same mentality of just constantly trying to open new opportunities and see what's out there.
Well, shit, man.
The crypto thing, I thought it was like an anamorphic set of keys for.
I've got my keys on my cell phone, and I'm always walking.
Yeah, no, it was actually. I mean, that's not bad. But I've had Walking Keys as my artist name since like 2002, or like my first art show was under Walking Keys, the name, and then like my gamer profile has been Walking Keys since gamer profiles were a thing. So. It's been there before keys for crypto were invented, but it does fit nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well, shoot, man. That turned into a very appropriate question that kind of brought this whole conversation full circle, man. I appreciate you sharing. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for caring.
Yeah, man. All right, brother. Well, I can't tell you how much, I think I speak on behalf of the whole community. We appreciate you taking the time to give back to the community in the way that you do. And, I've seen something come from the Twitter that is your handle of late, asking one question. And I don't know if you've got it on repeat deliberately, or you forget that you sent it yesterday. But yeah, I'm sure it's deliberate. But I love seeing that question. I've yet to come up with a clever response that's worthy of tossing in the comments out there. But what can be accomplished today, man? And I think that kind of sums things up for this episode. And just I think the three of us are kind of like-minded in that approach to life. And I appreciate having that question come across my feed every couple of scrolls on Twitter, and it definitely makes me think, man. So again, man, appreciate you, Keys. Appreciate what you bring to the community, and very much looking forward to this new show, bro.
Thank you, guys. And I appreciate what you all do. And man, I didn't think anybody was reading that tweet, but that makes me happy, because we should all, I mean, everyone can do whatever the hell they want, but I feel like the people that are out there trying to do something and trying to make an impact in whatever community or whatever, wherever they are, is those people should be celebrated and encouraged, because it's not an easy world out there, and it's definitely not easy to stay positive. So I appreciate what you all do, and the interviews you do bring a lot of insight and discussion to the community that's valuable. So I appreciate you guys as well, and thanks for this opportunity. I love coming on and talking with you guys. It's a lot of fun.
It won't be the last time, man. We'll get you back on.
Yes, January. We'll just get on a schedule.
Yeah, I love it. All right.
For Land 1.6, right?
Oh boy, here we go. All right, Happy. Any final words, Happy?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, appreciate you spending a couple of hours with Keys, Hep, and myself. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and you have been listening to
The People's Guild.